Yeah, it's up live now. Okay, right. See ya. Bye. Good morning, or good afternoon, maybe. This is THFC Till I Die Newsbeat for Friday, the 18th of November. And this is my first time hosting, so bear with me if I make an absolute pig zero of it. I hope I won't. But anyway, here we go. Just see if there's anybody in the chat at the moment. Theo Isaac is here, 100%. Good man, thanks, Theo. Good to see you. And I suppose to kick things off, I suppose we're going to have to go to the main story of the day, which is the decision by the Qatari authorities, no doubt at the request of the Qatari royal family, to ban the sale of alcohol or beer at the match venues for the 64 matches of the World Cup. Now, I don't think this decision is going to go down very well in many places, especially in the Budweiser boardroom, because Budweiser are in receipt of a huge amount of, give a huge amount of money to FIFA every World Cup to be the main beer, the only beer available at match venues. I think it's something in the region of 70 million they pay for that. So I don't think we've heard the last of that. I can see a few writs changing hands over this over the coming weeks, but it's disgraceful, really. I mean, Qatar was awarded the World Cup 10, 12 years ago, and to ban alcohol 2 days beforehand, it's just they've been planning this all along. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction because some member of the royal family told them to stop the sale of alcohol because they don't drink alcohol really in Qatar. They've known about this all along, but they were asked this question numerous times over the build-up to the World Cup. Would there be a problem with selling alcohol? I said, oh, not at all, not at all. As long as it's controlled and it's in designated areas, there'll be no problem. So here we go now, 48 hours before the tournament starts. In a country where you need to drink to keep yourself hydrated, they have now decided no alcohol except at the fan zones. And I believe the fan zones are something I'll touch on later on. I believe the quality of the food there is absolutely disgusting. And okay, the beer will be okay because it's in a bottle, but the food and the prices they're charging are just something awful. To give you an example, I read overnight there that people were shocked at the state and the cost of the food in the fan zones. A Greek salad, which is basically a few lumps of lettuce and a bit of onion and tomato, is cost nine quid. A burger and a pint, and if you saw the burger, you throw it back at anybody who serves it here. A burger and a pint, 25 quid. And a slice of pizza, which is practically inedible, apparently, 8 quid. So, you know, that's what they're making money out of this. And then now they've gone along and banned the alcohol at the matches. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it beggars the question, who is actually running this World Cup? Is it FIFA? Or is it the Qatari royal family or the Qatari organizing committee? I think we all know the answer to that, and it's not FIFA. They have been completely blindsided by this decision, and they're going to take so much criticism from the fans that I can see that they were talking about the fact that, you know, gay people aren't accepted in Qatar and you can't show any signs of affection on the street. I think the fact now that the fans can't drink a pint of beer is going to be the biggest problem that they're going to have over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Because let's face it, I mean, if you've been to a Tottenham match and go into the new stadium there, look what's happening before the game. The bars are absolutely packed. Drinking beer and football go hand in hand. And what the Qataris have done now is they've actually severed one of those items from the menu. And it's not going to go down very well. It's especially, I think, with the English fans, who will be probably the biggest consumers of beer there. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I can honestly think that there is going to be a little bit of a kickback over that. And I don't think it's going to end well for the Qataris or FIFA. It's going to cost them a huge amount of money because they are going to be sued by Budweiser, and rightly so. Anyway, World Cup team news. There's, as probably you saw yesterday, all 25 of the 26 England players all trained. James Maddison is the one that sat it out. And I presume that was something to do with the injury that he picked up at the weekend, and that he will be fit, but he just weren't going to risk him. I don't think there's any other injury news. There is bad news for Senegal in so much as Sané, or Mane, maybe call him. Sadio Mane is out of the tournament. He got injured during the last game, I think, playing for Bayern Munich there last week. So it's very, very sad. I mean, he joins a long list of good players who really will be missed at the World Cup, including in goal of CONTE, Paul Pogba, who might not be that missed. What you call him, the Chelsea guy, Reece James, Ben Chilwell, and the guy that used to play for Chelsea, whose name just escapes me at the minute, he kept scoring against us, was also injured. I'm sure there's more. On the positive side, it was good to see Heung-min Son in his Lone Ranger outfit yesterday with the mask. At least he will be fit for Korea, and that's a huge boost for Korea and for the competition in general, because we like players like Heung-min Son. We need them playing. Don't think there's any other soccer news or World Cup team news that we know about at the moment. I'm sure, like, once the games kick off on Sunday, and it's a pity, actually. You know, I mean, I don't know about you, but my recollection of the World Cup was always that the holders, the team that won the last World Cup, they kick off the tournament, and I think that would have been the case this year. And the match was due to be played on a Monday, not Sunday, but on Monday. But I think once again, the Qataris put their nose in and decided that they're going to play it on a Sunday, and that their own team will be playing in it. So Qatar versus Ecuador is hardly the most exciting game to start off a World Cup. I'm afraid it could have been an awful lot better than that. It should have been France versus somebody, but it's not. But there you go. I think it's just one of a number of things that are going to come out in the next few weeks, which show what a huge, huge mistake it was to award that World Cup to the Qatari regime, basically, I'm going to call them now. And I hope the guys that took the backhanders are happy, because they're going to put the cause of football worldwide back about 20 years by giving the tournament to such a nation that is so poor in human rights and every other right. So rant over. And while I hope that the soccer is good, I think that what's going to happen off the pitch is going to be a lot more interesting. Let's have a few more chats, see who's in the chat. Carl Simpson is here. Hello, Philip. Hiya, Carl. How's it going? You're a regular contributor to this. And Mark New is saying, big up, Ellie. Well, Ellie will be here shortly. She's a bit delayed this morning. I agree 100%. The cost of food, hotels, last-minute ban of beer, along with human rights abuse and massive pollution of the environment, last straw on the camel's back. Absolutely agree with you, Mark. 100%. I think that this is just a huge, huge mistake. One of many FIFA have made in the past. But most of their mistakes were made that we didn't really hear about them or know about them. This one is in full public view, and I think the consequences are going to be so far-reaching that the present board of FIFA, I think, better have their tin hat on, because they are going to get so much criticism of this. And also, I'll just to add to the fact, I mentioned it on one of the shows recently, that the present head of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, who's Swiss like Sepp Blatter, actually lives in Qatar. Now, let that sink in a bit. He moved out there about a year ago, and his kids are in school out in Qatar. He's under the influence of that regime every day of the week. Every time he gets out of bed, he's under their influence. So who's to say Infantino now has blood on his hands, allowing these regimes to dictate what happens in literally what should be his World Cup? I think it's a scandal. Is it a move to move the FIFA headquarters from Zurich out to Qatar? That has Sepp Blatter apparently reckons that's what's going to happen. If you've seen the documentary, if you FIFA Uncovered, you'll see an awful lot there. I suggest everybody watches that documentary before the World Cup. It'll colour your thinking as to what's going to happen over the next few weeks. But anyway, big up, Mark. That's a great comment. Afternoon, John. Big up to you as well. Another regular contributor. Good to see you. And Kev Williams. Big up, everybody. Hope you're all safe and well. We're all grand here, sitting on the outside, looking in, waiting for Sunday to happen, and waiting to see what's happening off the pitch as well as on it. So good man, Kev. Anthony Gregory, hypocrites. When they're in London, they're all in the exclusive clubs in Mayfair drinking alcohol. Absolutely spot on. I remember being in Dubai there about 15 years ago, and I had to look twice. I could see this sheikh in long flowing robes sitting openly in a hotel in Dubai, drinking a bottle of red wine. So, like, you know, it's when I say they don't like alcohol in public, and the public view is they don't like it. But in private, as Anthony says there, they're all at it. Good man, Anthony. And Kev Williams, again, I have to say how I feel about this World Cup. I'm Welsh, and I should be excited to see my country play for the first time in my lifetime and in over 50 odd years. However, there's a cloud over this. Absolutely. There's a cloud for every team. And it's especially hard on the teams like Wales, who it's a special competition. Like, let's face it, a lot of the countries in the World Cup this time, they're there every time. There's nothing special to them. Okay, it's special, but for Wales to get there for the first time since 1958 is a huge achievement. And I hope to God they do very well. I'd love to see the Welsh do very well. And not only because Gareth Bale and Joe Rodon and Ben Davies are in the team, I really hope Wales do well. But like it has thrown a cloud over it, and feel sorry for the Welsh fans that made the trip out there, paying exorbitant prices for hotels and for everything else, like I laid out earlier. So, you know, it has drawn an absolute cloud over a day that should be joyous for the entire Welsh nation. But good man, Kev, good comment. And here's Carl again. The rules and news coming out of Qatar is a massive smash in the face to FIFA, and they deserved it. There was even rumours of fake England fans out there. Carl, I don't even think that's a rumour. I've heard this from numerous sources that the Qatari authorities have paid 40 or 50 fans from each competing nation. They're paying their accommodation. They flew them out there, and they're giving them an allowance every day, preloaded onto like a Revolut card or a prepaid Visa card, to go around giving positive comments about the matches, saying nothing wrong about the thing. Everything is brilliant. Everything is hunky-dory. And trying to get hopefully they're the people that the cameramen will interview and the TV channels will interview. But I've no doubt the TV channels are aware of these guys. And if they get a trend of people saying too many nice things about the World Cup, they'll know these are the fake boys and they'll move on to the real fellas. But it wouldn't surprise me, as has happened to the Danish cameraman and an Irish crew last night were stopped from filming, that the morality police are on the go the whole time here. And if they see somebody being interviewed that's not saying what they like, I can rest assured that interview will be suspended and the tape wiped. And that is something you expect to see in Nazi Germany, not in a supposedly free nation. But Carl, I totally agree with you there. So that's all the comments for the moment. And like as I said, the World Cup is going to dominate our headlines. It's going to kind of be hard to keep Spurs in our thoughts when this World Cup is going on, but we need to do that, you know. But just before we get on to that, I want to touch a comment that's very close to my heart. How bad were Ireland last night? For those of you that don't know, we were playing a team from the Norwegian national team in the friendly at the Aviva Stadium, and unfortunately we got beat. Now, when this match was advertised, there was every thought that Erling Haaland would be playing for Norway, and that would bring, you know, probably added 20,000 people to the crowd. As it was, with 42,000 people there, Haaland wasn't even in the squad. But the Norway team was still too good for us. Ireland were abysmal in the first half. They were absolutely slightly better in the second half. We lost 2-1. We were 1-0 down just before half time. We equalised with a cracker of a goal in the second half, a 25-yarder. A really good goal by a young fella called Brown scored. I don't know who he plays for, I've forgotten. But then Norway scored the winner in the last 5 minutes, so we got beaten again. We don't like our manager over here, Stephen Kenny. He's not good enough for the job. The players that we have are reasonably okay. The young lads coming up, but he's not the guy to guide them up. And he needs to go, but we can't afford to employ a good manager, so that's probably not going to happen. As regards Matt Doherty, our beloved Matt Doherty, our beloved wing-back, one thing absolutely disgusted me at half-time about him. He didn't play very well. He didn't play badly, but he never went by a player, the usual thing. He got as far as the opposition wing-back and stopped and went backwards. But he came out in the second half with a pair of gloves on. He was the only outfield player on Spurs on the Ireland team to wear a pair of gloves, which was, you know, in my opinion, hanging offence. It wasn't cold. You know, some of the coloured players weren't wearing gloves, but then Matt Doherty, tough guy from Dublin, pair of gloves. Not good enough, Matt. And they did not go down well with the Spurs fans that were watching the game, you know. But anyway, that's enough of a rant about Spurs. I'm just going to go on hold for 1 second, if you don't mind, lads, because I just realized my battery wasn't charging properly, so I'm going to have to plug it in here to make sure I don't lose the signal. So I'm just going to stop the cam for a sec, but hang on, I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Now, sorry about that. I have to change position as well, but my laptop isn't performing particularly well, and the battery runs down very quickly. So anyway, that's bad enough about Ireland. Now, we're just going to move on to our favourite topic. Today's Spurs news and transfer gossip. There's not a huge amount because obviously the World Cup is pretty much dominating proceedings at the moment, and probably will do for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But as I keep saying, you know, Spurs have to make investments in the January transfer window. We know what the positions that we need. We need to get a new centre back. We may need to get a new right wing back, and we certainly need a James Maddison type player in the centre of midfield to create a few more goals for the lads. What we also need, and hang on, she's here now. The hooded warrior has arrived.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I felt a bit under the weather. I hadn't eaten all yesterday and today. I just felt a bit under the weather. A bit like Eric Dyer when he's defending.
You look like Robert Hood there with a hat on you. They look.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep warm because I've got a really cold chill and I thought I might have COVID. I've done a test and I haven't got it.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just over it myself, so I know exactly where you're coming from. You know, we were just having a rundown, Ellie. I'll just recap slightly what we talked about. This disgraceful decision by Qatar to ban alcohol at the match venues, and they banned it. You can only get drink at the play, you know, the fan zones, and I think it's 12 quid for a half litre of beer.
Oh my God! They're really reaping the money, aren't they?
The food prices apparently are 9 quid for a Greek salad, 25 quid for a burger and pint, and 8 quid for a slice of pizza. And apparently it's garbage. It's rubbish. You can't even eat it. So
they can come round free to mine. Free. I'll do them a Greek salad, a burger, everything for free.
No. If you saw the burger, it was like a piece of a sole of somebody's shoe with a bit of cheese on it. It was just ridiculously bad.
That's not good, is it?
No, it's not good. No, it's going to cause. There's going to be riots. So not riots because they won't allow that, but there's going to be an awful lot of unrest over there. Because I was just saying, you know, the drinking culture goes with football. Look at the Spurs stadium on the match day. How busy the bars are. And
I know.
Naturally, a pint and a mass. And they won't be able to do that. Apparently, they've conceded that they will allow non-alcoholic Budweiser.
Oh my God!
That'll go down well, won't it?
Do you know what? It's ridiculous. The charge, the cost of the things that they're charging for as well is disgusting. £25 for a burger. Are you having a laugh?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and there's a beer included. There's a beer included, so it's probably 12 pints or 12 euros for each, or 12 quid for each, you know.
No, that's not good.
Let's through some more of the comments here, Ellie, while we're waiting.
Yeah, cool.
I'm missing me out here, but Carl Simpson is. Oops,
he's on form again.
Yeah, I may have missed a few of these, but Carl is saying, I can hear my own thoughts. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And
you can put a few swear words every time you
Ellie the Jedi. That's
Ellie
the word
the Jedi. Yeah. Because I'm so cold. I feel cold. That I've got 2 hoodies. I've got the pink one underneath this as well, and I'm still cold.
Oh boy, it's cold here this morning, but it's not. I'm sitting on a radiator here, so I'm not too bad. Anyway, here's Carl again saying, I need players already done for the 1st of January. Get them straight in and get this team stronger straight away. Yeah, I was just talking about that when you came on there, Ellie. The fact that the January transfer window, apart from last year, isn't generally a productive one for Tottenham. We got good value last year with Kulusevski and Bentancur. But the World Cup is going to be a different dynamic this time, whereas players are going to put themselves in the shop window in the next few weeks. So I'm hoping that Paratici is well prepared to snap up some of these, rising stars that can do a job for us. They can slot straight into Eric Dyer's position in the centre back, others. And to keep us going, because we can't afford to let this January window go by, or else this whole season could slip away from us. Do
you know what? I had a nightmare last night, Philip. I dreamt that Eric Dyer won the World Cup.
Well, something. I wouldn't class that as a nightmare.
That's my worst nightmare. He's going to come back a World Cup winner. He's already got a big head.
But we can do 2 things with him then. If Eric Dyer has a stormer of a World Cup, chances are he'll come back and do the same thing when he gets back. But it's unlikely.
No, I don't think he's got it in him to play 5. Say, to win the World Cup, you need to win quite a few matches, don't you? You need to win. Well, you don't have to win them all in the group stage. You can lose in the group stage and still qualify if you win both of their matches and the other teams don't get as many points. But to get to the next round, and then you've got to play the quarter-final, the semi-final, and then the final, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you go into the last. Is it the last 16 first, or is it the last 32?
16, I think so. Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it's like the Champions League. Last 16, then 8. So that's quarter-finals, 4 semi-finals, and then you get to the final. It's quite easy to win the World. It's quite easy, but it's hard to win the World Cup at the same time because you're playing against the best 11 of each country.
That's true.
Yeah.
Apologies, I might be missing the odd comment here, lads. They're moving a little bit quicker than I'm just getting used to this system at the minute. But
don't worry. We can catch up. Don't worry.
Hi, Chris. How are you? Now, the next one is
Chris Agambar with the chicken.
Big up Welsh fans. It's you again.
I love Mark.
John Charles, Welsh and Juve legend of the '58 World Cup. He was kicked out of the tournament by Bulgaria. He missed the quarter-final, lost to Pele's Brazil, hit the post twice. Pele missed kick goal, won the quarter-final. And that was back in the day when there were no substitutes allowed. So, it was 11 men versus 11, and that was it. So, I was commenting how great it is to see Wales in the World Cup, and I hope they do very well. I really do. Yeah,
I do. I love Gareth Bale, so I'm hoping he does well. Just Wales for Gareth Bale. He deserves another trophy, doesn't he? He's got about 5 Champions League ones to keep it company.
That's true. And Mia, good morning, Mia. Well, good afternoon.
Hello.
Why would that mean England win it? I don't care if we win it. Well, we'll see what happens. And DERMOTRON saying
He's being generous. He's just saying 1-0. I thought he was going to say 10-0. Add a 0 to the 1. 10-0.
Chris as in bottle. Right, fair enough. Carl Simpson is saying, Dermot, how dare you? This comment is very relevant actually from John Fitzpatrick. England players won't be able for the heat. I believe it's very hot out there at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's like 39 degrees.
Yeah,
it's 39 degrees.
And Dermot is now coming with a few more predictions here, which I don't think a lot of the people on here will agree with. USA 2.
That means England are out now. Chop.
Yeah. Well, here's one that'll keep everybody happy. Wales 1, England 1.
Gareth Bale scores both goals.
Again, Thfc like good goal, Mia. That's good.
Yeah, come on. That's it. This is the channel to be at. You get Ellie in a hoodie. And Philip, he's all kitted out. Look, he's probably got his Burberry on.
No, it's North Face. I'm a big North Face fan.
Oh, North Face, that's even better than Burberry.
Mark News says, big up, Ellie. Hope you feel warmer soon. Some big World Cup games will get us all fired up. Come on, you Spurs. They are now. It will. Might not be no alcohol involved. And I think most Spurs fans will appreciate this comment here from Andrew Gregory. Anthony, or Andrew, sorry. Paraticis in Qatar trying to swap Dyer for 2 camels. Apparently, there's 2 camels. This is a true story. There's 2 camels outside. Put 2 camels in the paddock beside the England hotel, who apparently create an awful lot of noise during the night.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Each other and whatever camels do to each other, you know. So maybe that's the 2 camels. They put Dyer out in the paddock and bring the camels into the hotel. So you know, Carl says, "Watch Dyer turn to prime Puel." I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I'm telling you.
You know what I mean? He's going to have a worldie, isn't he? And we're going to say, "Oh my God." Where did he get that skill from?
I was just talking on Dave's show last night that Jack stood in for when Dave was at the match. I put a question in. Say now I wasn't a Spurs fan, and I'm looking at Eric Dyer, and I'm seeing him in the England squad, and I'm seeing how much Southgate loves him. And then I'm beginning to wonder, are we being too critical of the guy? Is he as bad as we make him out to be? Because somebody sees some good in him. So we'll just see how he goes in the next few weeks.
In my eyes, he's worse than people make him out to be. I just don't like him. I heard Perisic say to him, all he had to do is a 25-yard ball, which he's capable of sometimes. 1 out of 10 will find its target. And he said, "Why didn't you effing pass the ball quicker?" Because he passed it to Højbjerg, and Højbjerg passed it to Bentancur. Bentancur passed it to Højbjerg, then it went to Perisic. Perisic is waiting. Trent Arnold's going to be left for dead, right? Because it was against Liverpool. And he's not the best defender, is he? Right? And I heard him say that. He said it under his breath as well.
Oh, well, listen, we'll just have to take what comes, you know. But
it was true.
Start up on the fact, I was just saying that the Tottenham news is probably going to be thin on the ground over the next few weeks, because the World Cup is going to actually dominate it. But there's a couple of things I just noticed this morning. The Kim Min Jae, you know, Heung-min Son's compatriot from South Korea, has a 45 million quid release clause put on his contract by Napoli. Now, I think he's a really good player. I think we should be looking at a guy like him, you know, like whether the fact that it'll be very interesting. I'll be watching him. I'm watching Son closely, but I'll be watching this guy very closely in the World Cup to see if he's worth the punt, because our previous Koreans have done okay, so he could do it, you know.
If you say so, Philip, you're the godfather, so I'm going with you.
Saying, like, I mean, you know, we really ideally would like the likes of Bastoni, and then there's also a possibility that De Vries, you know, the Stefan De Vries, is available for knockdown price, because his contract's up in the summer. Like, we could get him for about 5 million, which would be an absolute steal, you know. Yeah,
and he's still got a few years in him.
Yes, he's got 2 years left. Skriniar as well as another one. Now, he's not playing at the World Cup, so he'll be well rested. So, you know, I hope Paratici hasn't gone off on his holidays. That's the only thing I'm saying, you know. He shouldn't have.
I know.
And just another bit of news as well. This has been mentioned a couple of times recently, and I don't know whether Chelsea would do business with us, but Hakim Ziyech appears to be kind of surplus to requirements at Stamford Bridge at the moment. And he scored an absolute cracker against Georgia in a friendly there the other day, and he could be available at about 33 million. Now, I know he's not a priority, but you know, he's certainly one maybe to keep in mind, because I always remember Ziyech when he played against us for Ajax in that semi-final in 19. He scored a beautiful goal and hit the post about 3 times, as far as I can remember. You know, so he's one to watch out. What do you think? Do you think we should do business with Chelsea, Ellie?
Do you know what? He's got a reputation of being a bit of party boy that I hear. I'm not sure if it's true. It's just like on the grapevine, you hear things, little snippets about players in and around clubs, right? And my future son-in-law is a Chelsea fan, and he doesn't rate him. He said that he's lazy, you know, because he watches him week in, week out, right? And he said he's lazy, he doesn't pull his weight for the team, but he's got skill sets like no other player at Chelsea, because he can score a worldie just like that. You know, the one he scored against us at Stamford Bridge with no backlift, and it was a worldie, like, it basically took my breath away. So he is worth a punt, I think, even though he might be I wouldn't say he's a lazy player, but maybe because he's like comparing him to other Chelsea players like Mason Mount, because Mason Mount covers the whole pitch. He runs up and down. He's a proper Chelsea boy. Where CH, he's come from the Dutch league, and he's never really been tested in the Premiership. So he might find it tough, you know, the physicality, because he's not the biggest of lads, but he has got a really good skill set, and he's got a wicked shot on him. So, and he can score goals. That's what we need in our team. We need another player that can score goals. If we don't get him, the player I would really love to get it's Maddison. I loved him from when he was young, because he's got that certain swagger about him. I like players who are confident and they've got a bit of swagger, you know, and they can affect games as well, Philip. Yeah, what do you think of Maddison?
Oh, I've wanted Maddison for quite a while. And I saw him firsthand. That's the match that he was, you know. So I think Ziyech. I think the best way you can describe Ziyech is a luxury player.
Yeah.
Conte doesn't really do luxury, does he? You know,
he doesn't really. No, I don't think he's going to go there. I don't think he's going to go there. I think he's going to give that one a miss.
Problem with Maddison is if Maddison gets a game in the World Cup and plays well, his price is going to go through the roof again, because
I know.
he's got such
Levy won't pay that. Levy's not going to pay it, is he? He's not going to. He does a cap at about 60-70 million. Levy, he won't pay more than that, I doubt. I very much doubt it, unless there's a player that he can bring in for a couple of years and sell him on for more, because he's young enough and good enough. I think he's got his sights on Kulusevski. I think we're going to lose him. I think he's going to be another Modric and go to Real Madrid. That's how I think.
I don't think so. I think he loves it too much. Reading his comments, he actually loves it. He loves it. I'm saying when in the next 2 years, I think he'll be gone. By the time he's 24, I think he'll be gone. Well, let's hope we've got a few trophies under our belt by then. If we get a few trophies under our belt,
I don't want to concede.
Are going to happen.
Yeah,
you know?
Philip, I don't want to concede to the bigger clubs. Like Real Madrid, they've got good pulling power for the Champions League because they've won it 14 times. So they've got pedigree. They've got the best pedigree in Europe, haven't they, for the Champions League? So they nick all our players. They took Bale off us. They took Modric off us. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
One team I think we should be telling him what a great player he is, and absolutely we don't mind taking him off us in January, is Juventus and Everton Royale. Juventus seem very interested in playing him. So, you know, and I don't think there'd be too many tears shed if he was transferred.
Do you know what I mean?
I felt sorry for him last Saturday. He went off the pitch thinking the fans were cheering him. The fact they were cheering his substitution seemed to be kind of lost on him, you know. But it's horrible to play getting treatment like that. So I think it's best for everybody if he left. Yeah,
definitely. But do you know what? He tries, but he just hasn't got the skill set. You know, he's a very athletic player. He can get back, he can track back, he'll work hard, and he's got the athleticism, but he hasn't got the football skills to make it. Yeah,
he fits. He ticks a few boxes for Conte. He's a functional player. That's why he keeps playing. Yeah, but Matt Doherty did nothing last night to put any pressure on him.
I spoke to David last night for a good hour or two. Yeah. We were just chatting about the team in general and the money coming in and who we're going to buy. It was a good conversation actually with David. Into the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, he was on his way back from the match. There's one other bit of transfer. It's not really transfer news, but We have a young lad playing in the under-21s at the minute called Alfie Devine, who is supposed to be a great player. Scores goals, scored for the senior team. Be the youngest player ever to score for the senior team, I think. But there are multiple championship sides want to take him on loan on January. Now, he's playing for the under-21. I don't know if you've checked them out recently. The under-21s are absolutely diabolical at the moment. They are bottom of the league.
I've been checking them out. But do you know what? They've got skills, but they just haven't got direction. They need somebody to get them by the kahunas and get them into shape. You know, they need coaching. Now they've got Jermaine Defoe and they've got Yaya Toure. They should be able to promote their skills in the team within a structured way of playing, because you need a style of playing, but you can also be flexible within that style, like Conte does. He switches it up 3-5-2, 3-4-3. You know, the thing is, every player, even though we're doing badly, I've seen most of the under-21s, they seem to be quite skilled. You know, it's just that maybe they're getting unlucky. They're losing by 1 or 2 goals. You know, football's a game of very fine margins sometimes.
You
know?
Absolutely.
Well, let's see what they do with them, because I'm sure Jermaine Defoe will be working on them really hard.
Yeah, I see Yaya Toure turned down the chance to manage Wigan during the week as well. He'd rather remain with our young players. So that was a good, good boost, because he's got
a couple of gems in there. He's got a couple of gems. We've got Dane Scarlett on loan to Portsmouth, and they were actually advertising for a driver to take the players on loan to their destinations the other day.
Oh, were they?
Spurs. Yeah, they were advertising for drivers to take the youth and the under-20 and the under-23s to their matches.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that'd be a nice job to get, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I know. I told my husband to apply. He said, I told my husband to apply because he does driving for a living. Yeah. He calls himself a PD.
If I was over there, I'd do it.
Driver.
Yeah.
It's a good job. And then you get to talk to the young lads how their careers are going.
Yeah, certainly. Get a bit of insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last bit of transfer news, well, it's not really transfer news, it's just about Lucas Moura. Apparently Lucas Moura has 18 months left on his contract, but he's unsure of what his future is at Spurs because he's not really getting much game time at the minute. So I think what's going to happen is at the end of the season, if he's not involved more, he'll probably sit down with Conte, and possibly I can see him moving on in the summer. Like, he's still only 30, so he's still a good player, but he just has never really fulfilled his potential with us, albeit on a couple of occasions he has. Luxurious, one of the most obviously in Amsterdam in May 19. But he's a player I like. You know, I think he can scare defenses, but too often his final ball is up a blind alley and he misses it. So
I know.
Hopefully that will
look up occasionally. He should look up and see what he's doing occasionally, because he plays with his head down.
Checking his boots all the time, you know. Anyway, let's get a few more comments in and see what's been said.
Yeah, good idea.
John Fitzpatrick saying Maddison will cost 60 million. We should go all out for a top centre back. Well, I mean, Maddison was always going to cost 60 million. I think, you know, he might cost more after the World Cup, but the centre back
is a decent player, isn't it? 60 million. We played that for Richarlison.
Yeah, centre back is the priority. Has to be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
Here's Dermot again coming in with another little comment. Breaking news: Levy has taken his piggy bank back. 150 million fell out of it when I woke up, and then went back to sleep. Yeah, that's true. You know, it's Levy needs to get his checkbook out. Carl again. Decky deal is done, and it's up to us to start challenging and win his trophies. So we're up with them there. Then, that's the point. I mean, Decky is happy at Spurs at the minute, and I'm hopeful that'll stay. You know, he seems to love the place there. You know, And this Carl again with another comment about Emerson. Emerson will be quality in Italy as a slightly slower league. Yeah. He will be more suited to the Italian league. All right.
He'll have more time to think.
But the problem is, when we paid 33 million or 30 million for Barcelona for him, and I don't think Barcelona have stopped laughing about it yet. They saw us coming there.
They were laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, it probably kept them in business for a while, actually, you know. And Mark New is another comment here. Maddison would definitely fit the TFC DNA if we can afford him. If he is out of our price range, would you take Modric back for 1 or 2 seasons? He fits the CONTE profile. What do you think, Ellie? What about Modric?
Do you know what? Modric was my favourite player when he was at Spurs. I loved him. What a great player. Yeah, because I saw him last season. He was fantastic. He done that fantastic ball. Pure vision and accuracy right onto Benzema's head. It's just brilliant. I think he's still got a couple of years in him because he looks after himself, the lad. Right, he's still super fit. I saw him outpace a really fat young right wing back. He outpaced him and beat him to the ball when he was tracking back. So yeah, I would take him. I'll take him. He's better than anything else we're going to go for, I think, in that position. The only one that, like I said, is Maddison. I would put Maddison ahead of Modric because of the amount of years you get out of him, and he can score more goals than Modric. Modric is more of a creator than a scorer. But, yeah, I would take him at a drop of a hat. Yeah.
We kind of need a creator, really, you know. But Modric being 37 years of age, I honestly don't see... And Modric would command huge money as well to come back. So we might get him on a free transfer. The salary would be difficult. I love Modric to bits. I honestly don't think... He wouldn't
be more than Harry Kane, though, would he? He would go below Harry Kane's wages.
I think we should be looking more at Maddison, who's 10 years younger or more than 10 years younger.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, definitely.
Carl again is saying Divine needs a loan now. Time to get first-team experience. Absolutely. I mean, if he's playing in the 21 team, is getting beaten every time, it's not going to do his confidence any good, even though he's scoring goals. So, yeah, I think it's time to get him out for a year. Yeah. I'm very interested to see how Dane Scarlett comes back from his loan at Portsmouth, because apparently they love him there.
Yeah, they do.
Well, interesting. Spurs refused Portsmouth permission to play him in the FA Cup. And that would lead me to believe that they're hedging their bets in case there's any injuries, that they'll recall him in January if we get injuries in the World Cup. I say that's by the way that's been dealt with, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that one goes. And David Clark again says, if the rumours are true that we're after Walker, Peters, and Edwards, then Spurs will win nothing in the next 5 years. Yeah, take it. Well, I think Walker Peters is a good little player, you know. But then again,
that's a bit harsh, David. That's a bit harsh because you can't put your money on 2 players affecting the game. If you've got 7 or 8 of them who are not going to affect the game, but not 2. That's a bit harsh. And plus Walker Peters, he showed a lot of promise at Spurs, but we got Højbjerg in return, didn't we? So I'm not really worried about that one. He can stay at Southampton, and we'll keep Højbjerg.
Going back to the Emerson.
I'm being cheeky now. I said, who else is going to warm Højbjerg's lap?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, true enough.
Yeah. I love him for him as a player, not as a good-looking man. He is a good-looking man, but I don't go there. I'll be his mother. Come on, I'm 60 years old in a few more days. He's only 27. I'm not a cradle snatcher. No, I love Højbjerg because he's a fabulous player. He plays with all his heart and soul. I love him. He's not the greatest technician, we know that, but what he gives the team is much more than that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with you. I mean,
he's not a bad technician, though.
We wouldn't be out. We possibly would be out of the Champions League without him. So, you know, it's a lot of time for him. Just carry on with David Clark's comment. Is good at passing to grass. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not much more. And Mia's in again here with, don't forget when our players went to Real Madrid, we were that team to sell players like that, although we still do it the way we are now. Well, still, it's obviously different. It is. Yeah, I think the dynamic is different now from we sold Modric and Bale. I don't think we're quite. also, I don't think Real Madrid are financially in a position to spend much at the moment. Anyway, they're a bit like Barcelona, you know.
Yeah, true.
There he goes again. Question to you both: do you think Decky is a bit like Ozzy?
The way he puts his arms out, yeah, when he's nurturing the ball, he does. But he more reminds me of Gaza and Waddle. He's a similar robust player like Gaza, and he can. The only difference, he doesn't really take it from the middle, because Gaza used to take it from the middle rather than the wings and drive through the middle, whereas he's a winger. But he's got the same skill set. And he reminds me of Waddle, because he's that sort of lanky. He's not that tall, but he's like, you know, in the way he runs, he's very much like Chris Waddle.
He reminds me of David Ginola as well.
Yeah, Ginola, I get your point, but not as good looking.
No, I wasn't looking at that angle. You obviously were.
Decky, but Ginola's the best looking man on earth. Next to my husband.
Oh, that's it. You get a team on their looks only rather than their ability.
No, Ginola. I'll go on his football ability first, but he's an Adonis. He is. Ask any woman and she'll tell you, Philip.
I think I'll on that one for now, right? Here's Dermot. Hey, me and Mark, Dave, and everyone in the chat. Good man, Dermot. Dermot's taking a well-deserved morning off today.
Well, Mia fancies Romero. You know, Mia in the chat, she said to me, hands off, he's mine.
I say a lot of the male fans of Spurs fancy Romero as well, you know. I would argue Decky is the best signing we've made in years. He's one of them. He's certainly one of them.
Yeah.
You know, Romero, I think, will be another one.
Højbjerg, the other one.
Of course, we have to forget Højbjerg.
Bentancur's on one lately. He's playing fabulous, Bentancur.
Yeah.
He's like a man possessed.
You know, and Ellie was.
What would I do, Dermot? Elaborate. What am I doing? So I know.
That's
I'll
what he
get
says in the
ready
next
for
one
it.
here. We all believe you, Ellie. I think it's about you being old enough to be his mother. I think that's probably what something.
I am. I'm not 21 anymore.
None of us are. Carl Simpson again. Be careful, Ellie, with that hood up. All you're missing is the sunglasses, and you complete the stalker look.
I've got the sunglasses as well. If you want me to get them out, I can. If that's a request, Carl, put in the request, and I'll go and get my sunglasses.
And me again. Cutie and Paulo Gaza Aniga are sexy too. David G. Gazzaniga.
You're right there, Mia. Three of the best.
I'll leave that to the ladies in the chat. I'm not going to even comment on any of that. David Clark is saying, I've got a list of 10 first team. Yes, David, we never really discussed this. Now, might not have to do it today, but I tell you, do you know what, David, if you're around tomorrow during our charity 12-hour broadcast from noon to midnight, pull up that list again, will you? And we'll give it a good discussion, because it was an excellent list. There were some players on it we knew about. There were some that were quite surprising to see on it, and there were some we probably would disagree with you on. So put that list up tomorrow, and we'll have a good chat about it.
Yeah, we'll have a little banter, won't we?
Yeah. There we go. We do a show, a Spurs Blind Date, with Ellie as host.
Do you know what? I'm a married woman, so I won't go there. You know, I love my husband too much. He's lovely, my husband. The only fault with my husband is a QPR fan.
Yeah, well, that's enough. That's enough to fight about.
You know what I mean?
Let's put you in your box on that answer now, anyway.
I know.
Yeah. Also, special shout out to Betty and Long later. But yeah, I'll leave that to you, Ellie. I'm not even going to comment on that.
Yeah, Bentancur's a looker, Longlay's a looker. They're both lovely. I'm not going there. I'm a married woman. I'm just fantasizing here.
This next comment, I don't know what way to take this next comment from Carl Simpson, but Ellie, leave it up to you. I think he means your sunglasses, Ellie. I think he means your sunglasses.
Wait 1 sec. I've got an array of sunglasses. What would you like? I'll put on my Elvis ones because they go down a treat, don't they? The Elvis ones. I'll go.
The pilot
thank
ones.
You very much. Ellie has left the building.
Yeah, Carl. Leave the sunglasses on for now.
They're a bit big for me, these ones, though. They fall off my head. They're meant for Elvis, that's why.
Yeah. David says, yes, I'll be there. List at the ready. This list has no sentimentality in it like you two. Oh, well, we'll see. You know, I mean, we've got to be, like, sentimentality is something I think Tottenham need to get rid of. There's too much sentiment, keeping players too long, letting them. They're giving Ben Davies a new contract. Like, I know he's been a good servant to the team, but a few good matches does not guarantee you a new contract. Puts you in the comfort zone. So players outlived his usefulness. Get rid of them.
Yeah, they reward failure, don't they, at Spurs?
Yeah,
they've
pretty
been
much.
Failing us for 22 years. No, say 21 years, because we won 1 cup in 22 years.
Yeah,
that's not good enough. Sorry,
it has to change, you know. But I'll be looking forward to going through that list. And here's a question for Ellie as well from Carl. Question for Ellie: is that Elvis on your wardrobe behind you?
No, it's David Archuleta, because this is my daughter Sophia's, and he was in American Idol, so it's David Archuleta. If you can see him,
I can't
he's
say
he's not that famous actually. He was just on American Idol and he finished second. And my daughter was very upset that he finished second because she wanted him to finish first, obviously. Yeah, he's a nice singer though. He's a very good singer. Yeah.
Ruthless Mr. Clark tomorrow. There you are now. And just on we're talking about singing. We had a bit of a light-hearted thing yesterday where we put up a thing on the YouTube, on the WhatsApp channel, for people to put in their top 10 songs of all time.
Yeah.
And excellent stuff in now, but Kyle Patrick Vineyard took over last night and he added about 10 hours of music to us. So at the moment, the last time I looked, there was 12 hours, 35 minutes of music on the THFC I Die Spotify website. The link is on the channel, or the web page, or the WhatsApp channel. But there's some amazing stuff in there, from the Beatles to God knows what. I think the only thing that's not there is Wagnerian opera. But no doubt somebody will put one of his operas up soon. But it's a bit of crack. It shows you differing our musical tastes are. So have a look at that and add a few songs to it. It's very easy to do it. And if you click on the song that's already on it, it'll tell you, so you can go down to the next one, you know.
Yeah.
Carl Simpson, I haven't got Spotify, damn. Oh yeah, Spotify's great actually. I love it. And
thank you very much.
That because I couldn't handle all the groupies. Oh, lucky man, David. What's your secret?
He's got a lot of money.
I think, Ellie, I'll pass on to you now. I want you to give a talk about what is actually happening tomorrow on the channel for this 12-hour broadcast.
Right, so we've got a lot of things planned. We're going to have David Harris is going to be the quiz master, and we're going to have a quiz. We're also going to have fans coming on to give their favourite Spurs 11. And I thought of one with Dermot. We'll have our best World Cup team, so the best 11. And with the Spurs one, we're going to give them 2 substitutes as well. So you can pick 11 players, come on and have your say why you want those 11 players in, and then we'll give you 2 substitutes as well. Because I know it's very hard to choose 11 out of all the fantastic players we've had throughout the years. And it can be from any era. Even if you weren't from that area and you've seen a player on YouTube, or you just like what you've heard of them, just give us your reasons. And then we're going to have people from the charities coming on to talk, and I believe Ollie's coming on to speak as well about the struggles that he's had to face with each child, you know, and the rewards as well. you know, because we all say struggles, but there are rewards to kids with autism and ADHD and ASD. You know, that it affects the families, but it also gives you joy because you can see your child benefiting from all the help that they get from charities and the support. It's all in place, but there's no harm in giving more. And also it highlights the fact that other people might dip deep into their pockets after our charity, Philip, and start donating regularly. You know, even if one person donates regularly and gives whatever they can afford, we've made an impact, you see. So it's all in a good cause because the families are struggling to cope financially as well because we're in a recession. And you know how hard it is to buy things for children that, you know, have got these problems as well. And you've got to adapt the house as well because they haven't got the same mentality to recognise certain things and certain behaviours. So I'm not an expert on autism, so I can't really talk about it at length. But what I do know, I had a child who I was looking after a long time ago when they run away from their care home, and I had to look after him. And it was such a rewarding job just to get him to recognise that we were helping him. Yeah. But the charity, it's going to be fantastic, Philip. Have you got anything more to say on it at all?
No, I think it's it's a credit to Dermot and yourself for thinking this up because I mean it is. I've been a lot of contact with Ollie, and I know the problems he's been having with his wee lad Oscar. He's a lovely wee fella, but you know, it's the difficulties the parents have and the level of support that they get, and you know, they really, it should be more highlighted that while the health services are under pressure, this is an area that really needs to be addressed and more support given to, because it's becoming more and more as time goes on, you know. And I mean, I have great admiration for parents that are dealing with autistic children and children on the spectrum. And tomorrow will be an eye opener for a lot of people that might not know the implications and the events that these parents and kids have to put up with. So it'll be on from midday to midnight, and I urge you to check in at various times during it, and you won't be disappointed.
And then just if you want to come on, just give us a bell in the chat if you want to come and talk about something that's affected you in those areas. And even if it's just a simple thing you're going to say, or something on mental health, how it's affected someone in your family or even yourself, and you want to come and tell us your story, you're more than welcome to.
And if Dermot's in the background there, could Dermot please put up the link for donations for the charity, because there is a GoFundMe page set up for this, and all the money, every penny goes to the charities involved. So I just want to have access to the link at the minute, but Dermot could put it up there and let everybody have a look at it, and any donations will be gratefully received. The aim is to get it up to 1,000 quid, and I know we're well on the way to that at the moment, but every penny counts. So we'll leave that with, hopefully Dermot will hear that story anyway and put it up.
He'll bring it up on it whenever he's ready. He's probably he was really busy with stuff today, Dermot as well. He had a lot of
he was in Wexford Hospital earlier, so saying Wexford Hospital food not great. They are not the only place the food isn't so good. Qatar isn't the only spot, you know. And I
don't think hospital food is not for me.
Again, quick story. I had to have Perspex on my TV to stop Jakey smashing it as he liked to throw things. There you go. Things can happen. Little things like keeping a TV safe. You'd never think of that in the world. So you know that's the type of thing that we want to hear about.
Yeah.
And Carl Simpson, Liverpool chairman, has confirmed they're actively trying to sell the club. Come on, Enoch. And Levy follow suit. Good God, I hope that Liverpool don't sell out to the Saudis like Newcastle did, you know. And I'm actually surprised at that. I'm quite surprised at that. Though Liverpool had a very stable ownership, but obviously they've either had enough or they see it's a good time to cash in. What do you reckon, Ellie?
Yeah, I like Liverpool as a club. I really admire them, the way they do things, and they've been constantly winning things throughout every single decade that I've been alive. So I take my hat off to them as well. I love their ethos as well, and the way they bring players through from their academy. They don't overlook their youngsters. But I mean, in recent times, you've had a couple of really good gems come through, like Curtis Jones and that young boy. I think his name's Elliot. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, they always bring a couple through at least. Whereas us, we haven't brought anyone through really, apart from Tanganga, and then he's gone backwards, right? Obviously, we've had other little players come through, but nothing major. Whereas Liverpool, I think they've got the right manager in place. They've got the right sort of they build their club on passion and, you know, keeping it like a family, proper family. When you go and you see videos where they go behind the scenes and the players just sign, I love the way they bring the player and they introduce him to everybody and he feels part of the club, and then they tell him the history of the club. They take him through the Hall of Fame. It's such a beautiful club. I love the way they run their club. And we've got to take a leaf out of their book as well, because I hear at the Spurs Stadium that the busts that we had on the main, you know, they should be where the trophies are on the front of so everybody can see them. Because when you go to where near the press room is, and just between the Spurs shop and the press room, you see all the trophies Spurs have won, but no busts. They've put them right at the end of the West Stand, I heard. I've not seen them there much. Actually, I did see one when I accidentally lost my debit card and they took me through to the Players' Lounge, and there was one there of Bill Nicholson at the back, though, not at the front, right at the back, like it was an afterthought.
Yeah, I think we need a bit of PR work done there to make sure that the fans can see the history of the club, not, you know, the busts are very important, you know. But anyway, that's a story that'll be worth following in the next few weeks. See how Liverpool get on. You know? And me, as again, I have many stories about Jakey, the myth, the boy, the legend. 13 years of having an ASD child means a lot of things happening. Absolutely, Mia.
Yeah.
I mean, we have nothing but admiration for you and all parents that have ASD kids.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're saints. It's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the best of luck, and come on tomorrow and tell us your story, and, you know, hope that we can, you know, make more people aware of just what a widespread issue ASD and autism, whatever is, you know.
Yeah.
And Dermot saying also adult with ASD and ADHD who's been diagnosed is also a problem. There is no help. Yeah, there you go. Again, another way about highlighting the problems and the areas which are not being addressed by the various health boards.
Yeah. And when you hear it from real people, Dermot, it really hits home hard, because they're telling their stories of how they've coped with adversity sometimes, facing the support services, not giving them all the help because of social funding and cutback, you know, so they've had to live through all that. And then we've got a recession going on at the moment, and there's going to be further cutbacks probably. You know, how that's going to affect them. Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, when the financial statement yesterday by Jeffrey Hunt, unfortunately, I mean, don't take this as a dig at the Conservative Party, but they will look after the upper class and the rich people quicker than they look after the working class and the people that need help. Yeah. So I'd be a little bit worried now that the health boards are going to be cut even further, and that waiting lists are going to get even longer. We have terrible waiting lists here in Ireland, and I believe it's the same now in the UK. So, you know.
Yeah.
And Mark News says, big up Ellie, Dermot and Phil for standing up for the kids with the show tomorrow. The kids are all right. They certainly are. And it's great. Really looking forward to this tomorrow to create more awareness of the scenario that we have. And David Clark has a comment here. We're going to be winding it up fairly soon, lads. And David Clark has a comment. The Middle Eastern owners are a better bet as owners, whereas Americans cannot be trusted. The mentality is based on American sports, i.e. name change, moving franchises, not a good idea. The great point, David. I think Chelsea are going to be a case in my mind there, because their new owner does not seem to understand the history or the way the football clubs here are operated, or in the UK are operated, and he's going to try and turn them into a Dallas Cowboys type outfit. That's move them up to Milton Keynes or do something like that. So Chelsea's ground is not fit for purpose as it stands. So watch this space. And let's face it, we might have another Arsenal on our hands here, moving somewhere else and claiming they're from South London. So now this is the bit you want to take a note of. This is the GoFundMe account. So if I've got a pen handy, take that down, and I say anything at all is welcome and will find its home to the right people. And also,
definitely.
I'll leave that up there for a second. And I'm not quite sure what the balance is at the moment, but I think it's moving up nicely.
Yeah.
Dermot says,
that anymore.
No, I don't have the balance. Dermot Stepson has also got ASD and ADHD. So there you go, quite a cross to bear, And Carl Simpson is saying, great show as usual. Thanks, Carl. It's it's been very interesting. It's
Carl Simpson.
Carl, a great supporter of the channel. And
I think he should change his name to Comedic Simpson, because he's so funny.
I think so. Yeah,
he gives us a laugh, a belly laugh.
Well, I think it's great to see Carl. After we've lost a match and nobody's in great humour, Carl will always come on and try and lift the mood a little bit,
He will.
And there's Dermot saying, as well as myself, but thank you both for your kindness, support. You're both proper angels. Oh, God, I've never been called an angel before. You probably have, but I haven't. My wife just commented she never called me one either, but anyway.
I look more like a hoodlum than an angel today.
God, don't go down the street like that. The police will be following you.
They would follow me. They'll think, what's that dodgy lady? First of all, I'm Greek Cypriot, so they're all after me already.
And then what are they going to say now? And Dermot, thanks for those comments. And David Clark is also saying they will only need to get enough American owners in the Prem and they will be able to change the rules. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Let's hope there's not. Dermot saying, thanks, Mia.
Yeah.
And Carl Jen is saying, my wife thinks I should change to Dick Simpson.
Your wife's a comedian as well, eh?
we're not commenting on that, And Dermot said the balance is now 130. There's 135 quid in the account for the GoFundMe. The target is 1,000. So that's even before we even start. That's a good start. Excellent start,
You know what I was just thinking, Philip? I was just thinking I'd love to be a fly in the wall in that Simpson house.
Yeah.
Just
sounds a bit like it seems a bit like the Simpsons.
Yeah, the Simpsons.
You're not Homer, Carl, no? Your name's not Homer. Yeah. Always moaned at me. Yeah, well, that's fairly cool.
Carl's wife's called Marge.
Yeah, the thing called Bart and Lisa.
Yeah.
Elvis Spurs saying, come on, you Spurs. Absolutely.
Got another Elvis in the building.
Ellie wouldn't be allowed to Leicester shopping centre in that hoodie. Yeah, I'd say it could be, yeah.
They'll be following me. What's this woman up to?
Exactly. And Mia saying, damn, euros, wasn't sure how much it changes. Well, actually, yeah, that account is in euros. And I think the exchange rate's about 117 or thereabouts. So if you put in, for every tenner you put in, that's an extra almost €2. Tenner sterling.
Right,
almost €2 extra.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think now I'm going to put one banner here now. I want a quick answer to this. Doesn't have to be now, but if you type up your answers and we'll compile that and see tomorrow who we think is going to win. Who will win the World Cup?
Okay.
Right? So think about
put
it.
Your answers in, guys and girls.
And what we'll do is we'll have a poll during the day to see who's favorite, second favorite, third favorite,
Yeah.
and whatever. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there, you know. And there's one more comment coming in here from David Clark again. We'll show this, then we're going to wind it up. Dave, Ellie, you look like Kenny in South Park. There you go.
It's nice to know that I look like a fella.
Yeah,
Because I'm one of the lads, isn't I?
Yeah, yeah. And then the final comment of the day, Carl Simpson, I always get told I'm not funny by mine. Oh, well. Anyway.
You know
Well,
what?
listen,
My husband finds me funny and I find him funny. My husband is very sarcastically funny. He's so sarcastic, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm sure you're well fit for him. You're well fit for him.
Yeah,
so listen,
we're well
for myself, thanks for tuning in today. It's been a quick enough
Thank you,
broadcast.
Mia.
And Mia and everybody, tune in tomorrow from 12 o'clock noon up until midnight. Dermot will be the anchor. Ellie and myself will be dropping in as quite a lot. And there'll be a lot of guests. And I believe there might be a special guest coming on. But I'm saying no more until.
Say no more.
We can't comment until tomorrow. But listen, all I can say is thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Say THFC till I die.
THFC till I die.